I'm Mike Dimas, and this is Pinball Shenanigans. Okay, back to the future spa yet again. That is where the old transformer was. She's a little bit dirty there. And I'll give that a little vacuum before I reinstall the transformer and rectifier board. But before I go ahead and do that, it's repinning time. So, should go pretty smoothly. I can remedy this hack here, and this housing is actually pretty good. This one I will change, and this one I'll probably change as well. It's a little fugly. So I think I have all my repinning tools here. I'm going to cut away all this crap. I'm going to be a little bit short on this harness here, but I think it will be enough. I mean, this harness goes, if I have to cut a couple zip ties even, then that's not a big deal. But should be okay to cut away all of this and get rid of that forever. So I should be much better. And then, of course, I've got my display that I repaired. And I was thinking, even if that first digit on the left is still bad, I think it's actually good. I'm pretty sure I could use it in the credit display because the credit display uses these two digits and these two digits, I believe. So if this digit is bad on player 3, then I can just swap these two, and that is a good remedy. A few of you pointed out that when you jumper the switch and it works, blame the switch, which makes sense in hindsight. So I actually have new switches, but I lent Kevin my switch bin, which I could go for like weeks without ever needing access to. But of course, as soon as I lend Kevin my bin of switch parts, I need it, and I don't have it. But I might be going there tonight, so I'll grab a new switch. In the meanwhile, maybe I'll give it a little spritz of this just to see what happens. So we're going to try and fix that, fix the display, stick the MPU back in, which was never a problem, but didn't hurt to go over the board, do a little bit of reflowage, and when I removed it, I discovered there was only one screw in there, and it was not even the correct type of screw. It was, I don't even know if it was the right thread, so it prompted me to bring some proper board screws. Where did I put those? There we go. I got a bunch of board screws. These are the right kind. And yeah, we'll install a couple of those guys. So no harm, no foul. All right, so one last look at the before. Should hang that on my wall. It's pretty impressive hackery and burnage. And oh, there's 3 wires here that are hacked. I'm gonna have to make sure I have enough wire to actually cut this all the way back. I may not. So I may need to just do a better job of wire extension on these 3 wires. I've got my parts, playfield parts over here, so I've got all kinds of wire. You know what I don't have though is my shrink tube. So I don't love that. I've got electrical tape, I think. But yeah, I didn't think to bring the shrink tube bin. So anyway, we'll see what I can do with this mess and report back. Judging by the amount of rust in this vicinity, you can see why this switch has potentially gone bad. Some beer spill, some pop spill, milkshake, who knows what has been spilt down this glass over the years. But, you know, this is very flammable. So you want to make sure this dries 100% before powering the machine on, but I figure while I'm doing other stuff, might as well do this first so it can dry while I'm doing the other things. So I'll work that in there a little bit. If it works, cool. If not, I got a new one over at Kevin's. Well, fortunately, I have a bar stool in the garage here, and I just pulled up a stool. I got a little bit of a workbench here, a little bit of a workbench here, and I am done with repinning. So this is the one that used to be this guy here. It's like a big spider. And now this is what it looks like. I'm going to zoom in a bit here. New housing, and I write repinned 2025 on everything I repin for future mic in the next future spa. And the fa of the sputure fa. Anyway, I think you know what I'm trying to say, because I sure don't. What's the other connector? Where did you go? So here is your J3 connector. This is the one big one that goes across the bottom. So every single pin is replaced, and all the ones that were in there, they were the non-trifuricon style. So this is a nice upgrade. And I ended up just reusing the housings because they're fine. A little bit of burnage there, but the housing itself ain't gonna fall apart. It's in good shape. I did find green and white wires over in the graveyard, and I made them a little extra long because I want to come back and then cut them short and shrink tube them. So I'll just twist them back off, shrink tube, cut them to length, and you know, it's like the original colors and the original thickness, not these guys, which were extra thick. And well, I guess green was the right color, but gray wasn't. Then I noticed someone else did a little bit of work on some of these wires and changed the colors, you know, orange to purple, red to black, yellow to white. But that looks like a good job. That's probably soldered and shrink tubed, and so I just left that. As for the short connector, I did clip one of the zip ties to give me a little extra length here. So that's basically it. There's the pile of trash. So next thing I'm going to do is clean up this corner and then install the transformer, and we'll start plugging things in. Here's the other connector. I didn't show this one off. There's technically 4 connectors. 1, 2, repinned, 3, 4, but these are actually technically 1 connector. Oh, that reminds me, I gotta put in a key plug in this guy, so I'm gonna do that as well. All right, let's try and clean up this corner a little bit. I don't really have any water on me or glass cleaner, but you know what? That's a lot better, so I can live with that. All right, I can tell by the looks on your faces that you want to see me install this thing. It's not all that exciting, but I may use some time lapse here. But all right, let's stick this bad boy in. Okay, I don't know if you could tell how much fun I was having installing that. It was amazing. Got these screws in the back corner here. There's 3 of them. Those are a little awkward. And leaning over the corner here, my back is just, about had it. Another screw there, screw there, screw there, but then you have to align all the 4 standoffs with these 2 screws through the bridges, through the heatsink, into the bracket. So it's an alignment dance, and I am not very good at it. But I think we can plug some stuff in now. And this should go here. Yeah, that looks about right. You know, I should put in a key pin there too. No one has bothered to do that. So I'm gonna have to do that. Let's just kind of dry fit. That should go there. Right? Is that right? Or does that go here? I'm gonna label these connectors. That goes here. Okay. So this makes sense. It needs to just be fought onto this connector here. Like so. And then, let's see if our shorty will fit. Here's our shorty. And do I have that in the right spot? 4th pin in, yes I do. Okay, so I got a little bit of work to do before I plug these in, but getting close. Okay, I actually had this connector installed wrong. So good thing I put in this key here. So now we can plug everything in. We'll do that. And then I should zoom out a little bit here so we can see what's going on. Then this guy can go in. And then I got a little arrow there to show the 2 where the connectors go. Okay, this is where I gotta fight a little bit here. You know what? I don't like fighting. I'm gonna remove this connector and just shave a little bit of the housing off between these 2 guys so it's not so much of a fight. Okay, let's give it one more try here. Just use my little file, shave down the edge a little bit on both sides, and let's see if it's gonna go in happily. It's pretty good. And that's pretty good. Doesn't feel a whole lot better than it was. But these connectors don't really need to come off for transportation purposes. That J3 just stays on there. So with another hand, I'm going to try and just snug that on just a little bit better. And then do the other 2 connectors. Okay, there we go. That connector's on there good now. I had to remove the connector and file down the little key plug because some of it was protruding out. And so I took the knife to it and the file to it and made it as flush so I could get it. There we go. Finally, J3 is installed. Let's do the others. What is this? That's J2. Now you can't screw this one up. It will not go anywhere else on the power supply. And then, where is J1? Where did you go? Oh, here it is. Looks like we're gonna have enough length. Oh, see what I mean? How that's protruding out a bit? That was my problem. So I'm gonna deal with that a little bit more before I stick this guy in. Okay. It's a little better. Let's see how this goes. Oop, wrong way. It's always the like terminals, the little slots for the terminals. That side is usually up on the power supply. Okay, that's on there good. Now, before I forget, I got these two general illumination wires that I gotta deal with at a future visit. But let's see if everything else wires up now. If I have enough slack for everything. You can even throw that in there. All right. I think we are good to go. So if everything works, then I'll stick this cage back on. Got my couple cage screws here. But yeah, Operation Rectifier board and repinning is pretty darn near finished. Let's just do the ultimate test now. Power this thing on and hope nothing is shorted together. Hopefully there's no fuses blowing, bridges blowing, smoke, fire, or any of the above. So let me clean up my mess here and then we will give her a test. All right, moment of truth here. Hopefully it works. So if I went through all this trouble just to go backwards in progress, I will be very sad. Okay, let's take a look at the back box. I'm going to power this on in 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I must have missed one. Okay. I think we're good, boys and girls. It was a little terrifying. You just never know when working on these things. I was trying to be uber careful to not bridge anything when putting on new headers there. And these two guys, I'm going to make sure they don't touch anything. But we're back in attract mode. Oh, well, let's see. Now that we think that's good, let's check on this Player 3 display. Hey, look at that. Success. I know the displays show up all weird through the camera, but okay, that's resolved. What else? Diagnostic button. I don't have high hopes for this, but let's see if it works now. Boom. What do you think about that? Little contact cleaner. Let's go check display test. Oh, that bottom left digit is being a little bit wonky. Okay, so I'm going to swap the credit display with Player 3 and see if the problem follows. So I'm going to do that now. Okay, I got the cage back on, and the soundboard was missing a screw. And then I also dropped some pinball legs on my my finger, so I got a boo-boo. Just moving too quickly. You got to be slow and intentional when you're working on pinball machines, boys and girls. You try and rush and move quick, things like that happen. So, got to be patient. So let's go back into display test now that I swapped the displays and see what happens. Okay, so it is definitely the display that is the issue. But I don't think that digit is used on the credit display. So let's turn this thing back on. And in the meanwhile, we'll listen to some cool tunes and find my to-do list. Where did that go? I can't have gone too far. I'll find it. Where did you go? All right, let's see. Yeah, look at that. That digit is not used on the credit display, so I guess I didn't repair the display after all, but this is a sufficient solution. I'm happy with that. What I do know is that we're down to the nitty-gritty here. I do want to raise the drop targets. I want to fix this light. Look at this. Go into diagnostics. So nice. This special light, this light, and this light are the only lights that aren't working, I believe. And then what else is there? I know there's another thing or two, but I gotta find my to-do list. All right, I got the hood up, and it's nice to be able to work on a machine with the hood up. My basement is often a different story, but now we can really address things that need to be addressed. This could be a connector, could be a SCR. I doubt it's the bulb. Could be the socket. We're gonna have to deal with that. And where was the other light? I think it was this guy here. Yeah, I have to figure out that guy. Also, I was talking to John, and he said these alligator clips are here because he didn't have the tools to solder the wires back on, I guess. So I've got the tools. I'll do that. And the other thing is raising the drop targets just a bit. So what I'm thinking is this may be an adjustment for that. I push up this whole plate up a little bit. There is on this side, you can see a bit of a loop. I don't think there is on the other side though. So if that doesn't work, payment pending, it's interesting. If that doesn't work, I'll put a strip of dampening foam along the bottom side of this bar so it can't go all the way down. And then the drop targets can't go all the way down. I think that'll solve it. Unless, you know what? I think just pushing this whole bar up actually. I loosen these two screws, push this whole bar that away. That might be the solution. So I'll fart around with those items and see how I make out. Okay, well I have the hood up. I gave the cabinet a vacuum, got rid of all the crusties in there. Soldered up this guy, no more alligator clips. And I adjusted the bottom plate here, and I think that my drop targets are nice and flush now, so the ball won't get hung up on them. So, if I could only find my to-do list, I don't know where the F, like, it's a piece of paper like this, and it just vanished. So, I gotta find it. It'll turn up somewhere, somehow. So I'm down to 3 light bulbs, and whatever else is on the list. Okay, I made a little jumper wire, and I'm gonna jumper these two guys together, this socket with the neighboring socket. The light works. So it's not the LED, it's not the socket, it's either the terminal or the SCR. Try and demonstrate this for you. Hey, there we go. Okay, same thing for this guy here. And then the last guy, I think we got a bit of a problem here. That is just wrapped around, so still that doesn't solve the problem. I'm going to solder that on, but I'll have to do the jumper test on that one too, but that is a problem. Okay, I think I figured out what's going on with this one lamp. This is the socket that was in there, and it's not even really the right socket. I mean, it would work technically, but someone at some point replaced the socket because the bulb wasn't working. I didn't like this socket, so I got rid of it and I put in a different, better, original used one. Like that's from my Xenon parts playfield. And now when I jumper it, it works. So they changed the socket thinking that might solve the problem, but it was never the socket. Again, it's either the terminal or it is the SCR. Because now, when I do this test, when I did it before, it was not working. But now, oh, almost had it. Just barely. Come on now. So close. Oop, there you go. Socket's good. Bulb's good. So all three of the bulbs have the same symptoms now. Either terminal or SCR. Okay. So connector J3, pin 15 is SPA special. And I wiggled wire number 15. Nothing happened. So we trace this down over to Q51. And then we use another jumper wire that I made. And you ground the bottom right leg of Q51, like so. And then, voila, we got action. So that means the wiring is good through here, but the SCR is not. So I'm going to rinse and repeat with the other two bulbs. I'm pretty sure they're going to be SCRs as well. And if that's the case, I'll have to bring the lamp driver home, which is no biggie. But that'll mean I'll have brought almost every board home with me. I guess that's not true. I didn't do the solenoid driver or the soundboard or the auxiliary board. So half of the boards. But it's what you got to do sometimes. So I'll try and find these other lamps. Spots letter when lit. What was that? What would that be called? Spots letter when lit. So you just got to go through all of that. What's the other one called? Target scores 5,000. Do you see a 5,000 anywhere? Anyway, that's what I got to do. So I think that's going to be where I wrap up. One more little session, and this machine should be good to go. Got to do some more play testing, of course. But we're almost there. So down to a few light bulbs, and I got to find my to-do list on the to-do list. Okay, one last thing before I go. I finally found them. We got kickback spots letter, and that is Q53. So we go over to Q53, kickback spots letter, boom. And the other one is called SPA 5K, and that is Q46. Q46. And Q46 is up here. And what do you know? All right, we got a few bad SCRs. So I'll see you on the next episode.